Welcome to another episode of the Body and Mind podcast. I'm your host, The Mind, and with me is my co-host, The Body. Body, welcome to the show.
Glad to be back, Mind.
Oh,
the pleasure is all everyone's.
Oh, there you go. And today, for everyone's listening pleasure, we're going to be doing some topics such as the latest moves in the National Basketball Association. LeBron's in a different team, and we're going to look at his cast of characters that he's got joining him.
Oh, it's a cast of characters, all right.
Characters being the operative word here.
All uppercase, caps lock.
Exactly.
Characters.
Good old Raptors made a big move, looking to make a big splash. So we're going to be looking at that. Then we shift our focus to the diamond, from the court to the diamond. MLB, today was a trade deadline.
Very eventful week.
Very eventful. A whole whackload of trades happened today, and significant moves being done by teams looking to make a significant impact.
There was a lot of significance going on today.
It's so significant that we have decided to divvy up the teams we see as contenders and
pretenders.
Oh, yeah.
Significance in both quality and quantity.
Exactly. Today we are having our cake and eating it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Major League Baseball. Once we're done with that, we're going to take you up north to some football. The American football leagues are about to begin, about another month or so.
Training camp is going.
But for now, we have live, honest-to-goodness Canadian football. And Johnny Football is right where he belongs.
In Montreal.
Making
his Canadian Football League debut.
Johnny Football plying his trade in the Canadian version of Sin City.
Against his old franchise that he was with for multiple weeks.
So we're going to get into that. And we're going to do our run of the CFL. And finally end it, as always, with our epic and suck of the week. Moment we thought sucked, the moment we thought was epic.
Yeah, this should be interesting this week.
Absolutely. The Body's kind of like got a women's theme going with his epic and suck, so stay tuned. Basically from
we've got an
from
epic
elevation to the cave.
Basically, like a short little preview right now.
Yep.
Epic, like all I'm going to say is the advancement of women. The epic suck will be a guy taking it back to the cave. That's all I'm going to say.
The Hulkster.
You can't even help yourself. You are bursting with anticipation. You've heard the story already.
This is well worth
taking it back to the cave.
Well worth staying around for. So let's start with the association. We're going right to the NBA. And some of the moves has been going on. So you wanted to talk about the suddenly resurging LA Lakers and King James taking his show there.
Well, there's an association of LeBron in the head cases, as I like to call it. So LeBron, it's definitely going to improve the Lakers. He's just not good a player.
Mm-hmm.
But the West is so much stronger than the East. I see them in the playoffs, but not going far.
But look at all the people they've surrounded LeBron with. How can you fail?
Well, you have Lance Stevenson, who was whispered in LeBron's ear, and he's a case. We have Rajon Rondo, and you don't know when he's going to go off.
Uh-huh.
We have Michael Beasley, who wears a wristwatch on his ankle. And what was his quote about that? I'm looking.
It's all about balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
He wears the wristwatches because he wants to keep in balance. If somebody somebody else starts wearing wristwatches.
Well, a year or two ago, he said, "I'm just about his wearing wristwatches. He wears 3 of them at a time, one on his ankle. I'm just finding a new balance. It's the new catchphrase. I don't have swag. I don't have feng shui. I'm not cool. I'm just balanced. If you see anyone with a watch on their leg, they took my balance."
New balance, eat your heart out.
So the Lakers are a balanced franchise, and this should be. Oh, and you still have Lonzo Ball, who
Oh, let's not forget about the Ball family.
now the son who plays, I think he's well adjusted, but Dad was pretty quiet last year. Well, Dad was doing his thing in Lithuania quite often,
Yeah.
but Dad should be back this year, and I'm not sure. I have to look into this. I think Dad's even trying to say he can beat LeBron one-on-one now.
Yes, he has.
So this should be awesome. This should be just simply awesome. Stevenson, Rondo, Beasley, LeBron, and LeVar Ball. Oh boy, Showtime's here, but in a different way than they're used to in LA.
I am looking forward to LeVar versus LeBron this year
I want to see it.
because there can only be one L on this franchise besides the loss column. And will it be LeVar or LeBron? Because you know at some point they're going to get into it during the season.
Oh yeah, this should be epic. This is just going to be so awesome. So awesome.
If this train wreck goes as successfully as we expect it not to, this might be the epic of the year.
This might go right beside Maradona in the Epic Hall of Fame.
Oh my goodness, that is some quality work there.
And that would be because the season would only be about 2 months old as we hit the end of the calendar year.
Wonderful.
But there's potential.
I am brimming with anticipation.
I am salivating.
I'm poking myself. Speaking of poking, mystery man Kawhi Leonard got traded to the Raptors for DeMar DeRozan. What do you think about this deal?
I think you and I are on the same page, which is probably a completely different page from everyone else.
Yeah.
I see why all the love for Kawhi Leonard being a top 3 player and stuff like that, the best player in the East. He passed a physical. Is he really that healthy? Is there going to be a recurring problem? B, the attitude going to Toronto. Maybe it's good. Maybe he's getting a bad rap, but I just have a bad feeling about this. I have a really bad feeling about this. And just see, I don't know. Coming back, my guy, I just don't think this is going to work out the way people expect. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on this trade. I know some people are saying they had to take the chance. It's going north, the DeRozan Lowry, but LeBron is out of the division now. I know Boston's probably surpassed him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see this working out as people expect. And I know the one criticism of DeRozan was his defense, but if there wasn't a way to work around it, or if he was as bad as everyone said, I couldn't see Popovich taking an interest in him.
Yeah, well, that's one of the goofy things is that, I mean, DeRozan has basically been one of these guys that every year he sought to improve his game no matter what, some part of his game. So whether it's his, just his field goal percentage, whether it's 3-point, whatever it is, or his free throw shooting, each year he's trying to improve some aspect of his game. And he even had mentioned that this year the focus was going to be on defense because that was longstanding criticism. So he has been focusing on working on his defense. So I have to imagine that's probably part of the reason why Popovich was happy to get him because, he's got this offensive star who's also willing to work on even the dirtier parts of the game. Now, some interesting things that have come up on this trade as well is that obviously it was a big shock to Raptors fans, this deal, because DeMar is a beloved player.
You finally found a star who wanted to stay there.
Yeah, and that's the one part of the trade that I'm not happy about is that for as talented players as Kawhi Leonard is like, I'd have been like, yeah, go after this guy, but keep DeRozan as well, find a way, is there a package you can offer, the Spurs to convince this guy to come? Maybe there wasn't.
And if there wasn't, I personally would have rather just stayed with what I had.
And I mean, the whole idea that, they want to make a big splash, they want to change their team around because they've been doing so miserably in the playoffs. Okay, I get that. All right, you want to do that, do that. But the fact that Masai Ujiri literally just outright lied to DeRozan when he asked him about a month before this deal happened, "Hey, are you planning on trading me?" And Masai Ujiri, the Raptors GM, said, "No, we're not. We're not going to trade you. You know, we want you here." And the two of them talked about what DeRozan's role would be in the new season. And all of a sudden, a few weeks later, badoosh, this trade happens. So obviously, these talks have been going on for a while because these rumors have been going on for a while.
Yes.
And that's why DeRozan even asked in the first place. So I don't like it for the fact that he literally lied to the franchise star player. So I don't like that part of it. Switching the team around, sure, do it. I mean, the Raptors have been terrible in the playoffs for so long. But that's the only grief I have with it.
I actually got a few points to piggyback off what you're saying. But I agree with you. One, like you said, I know we weren't there, but I don't buy the miscommunication thing.
Yeah.
I think he outright lied to him.
Yeah.
I've seen the media, especially Canadian media, justifying it. Well, there's no loyalty in sports. He's doing what he has to do. Yeah, funny, because I'm sure the same media will jump down some guy's throat when he wants to trade.
Exactly.
About his lack of loyalty. I find the media goes whichever way they want to go with this. They're not really consistent.
Yeah.
No, I'm not okay with the lack of loyalty there. I know there's not a loyalty in sports to not trading someone. I believe there's a loyalty in not lying to someone, though.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different issue.
Yeah.
And about, we're talking about DeRozan's work ethic. I think Leonard was a second-round pick, great athlete, but he had to work on his game a lot. And my question is, he had to work on it to get where it is. But now that he is where he is, does that work ethic stay the same, or is he satisfied with where he is? Whereas in DeRozan has not reached Leonard's, level. And I know he was a much higher pick.
Yeah.
But you see DeRozan being an excellent player, still working, and maybe Leonard's still working. I almost wonder if Leonard's happy with where he is, where DeRozan's still maintaining his work ethic. And these are all things I'll get answered for us this year.
Well, the one positive that Raptors fans can take from this is that the new coach for the Raptors, Nurse, what's his first? I don't remember his first name.
I think it's Richard, but I'm not.
Richard? Sure. I was going to call him Richard. I was going to call him Darnell, but sure, why not? Richard. He actually had a talk with Kawhi when he visited the team just shortly after the trade. And he actually said that he was nervous about talking to Leonard because he had heard that he doesn't really like talk much and kind of a quiet guy.
Oh, it's Nick Nurse, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So not surprised.
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, why do we care?
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably be fired in 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
But he said that his first talk with Leonard, he was pleasantly surprised. Because he was afraid that it was just going to be just him talking and Leonard just sitting there listening. But he said actually the two of them hit it off really well, and that Leonard started asking like just a boatload of questions for the upcoming season. Like what's your coaching philosophy? How do you see using me? Like what do you expect me to do on this team? Well, how are you going to run your offense? How are you going to run your defense? So he just went when they said they covered all the bases. They spoke for like 45 minutes, and they said they literally could have been talking for hours, but they actually got booted out because they're unfortunately on a schedule. So they literally had to cut their conversation short. So he says that Leonard was actually very engaged and very interested in the team, and pretty excited to find out what his role was going to be on this new team. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like Leonard is kind of like embracing this deal and is ready to move on with it.
Well, that can make things promising.
Yeah, so that's the one bit of good news.
I just have a weird gut feeling about this trade.
It's a weird trade. It was definitely a gut punch. And like I say, for me, like I'm a DeRozan fan, so I mean I get that Leonard is a super talented guy, and I totally agree that the Raptors had to shake it up. But just the way they went about it by literally just lying to their star and kind of backstabbing him like that was kind of a creepy thing. Mm-hmm. But I will not hold it against Kawhi because it's not his fault. It's Masai Ujiri's fault. But the one interesting part was that the Spurs received a incredible draft pick laden offer from Boston and decided not to take this. But Boston, from the sounds of it, they offered multiple first round picks because they own first round picks from other teams as well. So this season, I think they have upcoming like 2 or 3 in the next NBA draft, and apparently they offered all of them, all their first rounders for like the next 2 seasons, and some second round picks. So they practically offered all their picks for almost the next 3 seasons.
But as tricky as the NBA draft has been, you could have all those picks and still not even pick up one DeRozan.
Well, that's the thing. So Popovich obviously decided, no, I need a player I can put in my lineup right now, rather than just the hope that, maybe someday all of these draft picks will work out.
And one wild card for Toronto, if this does work out, is picking up Danny Green, the shooting guard.
Yeah.
Very good defender and three-point shooter. So if it does work out for them, that's an unheralded part of this deal.
Yeah. So it's an interesting deal. Obviously, they figure they'll win through defense. To see how it works out. Couple of, one short note. Carmelo Anthony, Gonzo from OKC after one fun-filled season there.
Addition by subtraction.
So the rumor is him going to the Rockets.
Well, they do play iso ball, which he does. There's only one basketball, though, for all those guys playing iso ball, so good luck with that. And to put him in the lineup, you would either be sitting P.J. Tucker or Trevor Ariza. So say goodbye to defense at that position, whichever position he's there, unless he comes off the bench. To which D'Antoni doesn't use his bench properly because Joe Johnson didn't get enough minutes in the playoffs last year. So, good luck with that.
They do have the blessing of James Harden because he said, it's like, we'll be able to use Carmelo. We'll make a great, he'll be great for us. So James Harden wants Carmelo in Houston. But, I think this is a colossal mistake.
No, I agree. I think it's a huge error.
Because it's just Carmelo.
Unless Ariza or Tucker's gone this year or something like that. But if either one of them's still there, I won't want Anthony in either one of their
Even
places.
if they didn't have anyone there, Carmelo, everywhere he goes, has been the cooler for that franchise.
Yes.
Every single one. Like we mentioned on the show multiple times. And so far, he's proven us right.
Everywhere he goes, the team drops.
The team drops. They get worse everywhere he goes. So,
He has a successful track record of failure.
Oh, good one.
Thank you.
Boom, boom. So, with that is the NBA. Vince Carter goes to Atlanta. The end.
Hey! 1 year, $2.4 million.
Attaboy, Vince Carter.
Vinsanity
comes to Atlanta. So, let's go on to the Major League Baseball. Today was trade deadline day, and all the teams looking to become great again made a bunch of trades.
Let's make the Yankees bullpen great again.
Oh,
woo!
Sweet baby Jesus.
How many closers do you need?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
Because the Yankees felt that they just didn't have enough closers.
No, you need to close games out during the national anthem if you're the Yankees.
Because, having a team with Aroldis Chapman and
David Robertson
and Dellin Betances
and Chad Green,
just not enough.
No, we need
you know what we need with that bullpen? We need another closer.
Where can we get another closer like that?
But where? Oh,
Zach Britton
in our division.
Whoa,
what a great idea!
Fantastic.
How about Zach Britton to the Yankees so they can now have five
closers, three legit closers, 2 legit setup men who could be closers.
Yep.
Oh my! Like they are warming up the bullpen during the national anthem.
Pretty much.
What the hell is wrong with this team?
So basically the Yankees are telling their starters, like, boys, we only need about 3 innings out of you. We got the rest. But just to make sure that their starters didn't get too tired, they also traded for a starter in J.A. Happ from the Blue Jays.
And here is irony.
Oh, I love irony.
Even though it's only one of them in his career.
Uh-huh.
Not just did they fortify the bullpen, they picked up a starting pitcher who got the save in the All-Star game this year.
They can't help themselves.
Even their starting pitcher has to close out a game. The Yankees have run wild. If you can count on two things from the Yankees, they're going to try to close out games in the second inning, and they're going to hit three things. They're going to hit home runs if they're not striking out.
Exactly. Yankees, they're all about the Ks and the saves.
Yes. Woo.
So yeah, it looks like the evil empire is back.
Oh, is it ever?
So watch out for the Yankees come playoff time. But yeah, we'll be looking at them a little more. Another big trade, which made some headlines for all the wrong reasons. Osuna, the closer for the Toronto Blue Jays, being traded to Houston for Kenny Giles. Also an angry, frustrated closer.
There's a lot of anger in this trade.
Oh, it's nothing but anger. Osuna, as folks might remember, is still actually finishing a 75-game suspension for spousal abuse.
Why can't everyone just be like Aroldis Chapman and go shoot up their garage?
Exactly. Aroldis did it right. He got into an argument, went in his garage, grabbed a gun, and just shot up the garage. Aroldis, you're my hero. So good.
Yeah. And I remember I can't remember what there was. There was issues with Osuna last year where there was questions about his mental makeup as well. The reason Houston gave up on Giles is his mental makeup and being a failure in the World Series last year, which they overcame.
Yep.
So now you go and trade for another guy who's a suspected domestic abuser, and which in itself is a head case, and a guy whose mental makeup was questioned. Because that's what you want in a closer role, is a questionable mental makeup.
And especially for a team looking to win their second World Series in a row.
Well done, Houston.
This is the part of everything else, like it sounds like there's like some pretty strong evidence to indicate that Osuna
was guilty.
Oh, definitely guilty,
yeah,
and then it sounds like there's actually some either pictures or video. I think pictures showing like the damage done to his girlfriend, and apparently it's quite sickening.
I'm cringing already.
Yeah. So this is the part of it that if this is true, like despite being a despicable human being, you're also, even no matter what, you're bringing this insane question mark into a championship quality team like Houston.
They can go and pick up Zach Britton?
Exactly. Like, this is the part that is maddening. Like, here's a team that is challenging for a World Series, and you'd figure the last thing you want is to introduce this kind of controversy into the locker room. Mm-hmm. And yet that's exactly what they just did.
I saw a headline earlier, and I wish I had a chance to read the story, because I believe Justin Verlander is a vehement opposer, as he should be, but I mean, like, very outspoken opposer of domestic violence. So,
he is indeed, because I think earlier this season there was actually a teammate, someone in the Houston Astros organization that was actually caught, charged with domestic violence, and was actually kicked out of baseball, I think, altogether. And he actually tweeted out, may the rest of your life without baseball be miserable, basically, is what he tweeted out to this guy. So yeah, Verlander, and he says that he stands by those words, and he has no patience and no forgiveness for people who do this sort of thing, these kinds of scumbags, basically.
I'm down with Verlander on this one.
Yeah, big time. So this is a crazy trade. For Toronto, I thought they did great just to get rid of this out of their clubhouse.
And just to get something back.
Yes, anything. If
they're rebuilding anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
And when you're rebuilding, culture is part of it.
Yeah. So strange trade for Houston. Speaking of strange trades, or just trades in general, how about in Tampa? They kind of remind me of one of those like furniture stores. Everything must go.
It's weird though. Everything must go, but we need to go pick up Tommy Pham.
Well, I mean, you need one player that you can show to the fans, a name
As
they
you're
might
dumping everyone else out the door.
Well, when you dump, in total, since
That's kind of like you're dumping all your furniture and everything out, but you go and buy a new 55-inch flat screen smart TV.
yes,
While you sit on a milk crate.
because so far
watch it.
they have picked up a total of 9 players, most of them names that only their parents would recognize, except for Tommy Pham. Mm-hmm. Him we know, St. Louis Cardinals. They have traded away 11 players, including names such as starting pitcher Colomb, Bernard Span, Chris Archer, Wilson Ramos. Well, we all know kind of these names.
It's basically like you have this beautiful living room set and like maybe a 40-something inch TV or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then a week later you decide, hey, I've got this 55-inch smart TV. Pull up a milk crate and let's watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the other furniture is gone.
Actually, we can't watch a movie because I can't afford cable or internet.
So pull up a milk crate and we'll just watch the screen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful TV. It's beautiful.
Tommy Pham in, everybody else out.
Everyone out. And in these trades of 11 players gone, they also managed to get just plain old cash in 2 of these deals.
And a lot of international pool money.
And 3 of these deals also involved international pool money and picks. So they're going all in with cash and international players. Tampa Rays, yay.
Well done.
Let's move on then to one of the players they did trade away, Chris Archer, starting pitcher, and going to a team that is normally a fire sale expert.
Is actually like bringing someone in. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
How did this happen?
I'm still shaking my head about this.
I'm like surprisingly calm actually, given that my beloved Pirates actually traded prospects to acquire an actual talented player technically in his prime. So Chris Archer, I've been a big fan of this guy. Unfortunately, he hasn't yet lived up to the hype.
He has been a classic underachiever.
He has been. But he was happy when he got the news to go to Pittsburgh. Because he tweeted out, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
We see this happen a lot with players in sports and quite often with pitchers in baseball. Don't reach their potential and change the scenery.
Yep, exactly.
Jake Arrieta going to the Cubs a few years ago is one great example. Mm-hmm. Always had this talent, couldn't do anything in Baltimore.
Yep.
Got to the Cubs. Other guys, historically it's happened with a few guys.
Well, Jose Bautista.
Yes.
Couldn't do anything with the Pirates. Goes to Toronto, bang, bombing 50 home runs every year.
Classic one from the 90s and early 2000s, Kevin Brown, 12 in Texas for years with amazing stuff, couldn't do anything. Change of scenery, all of a sudden he was an all-star pitcher for years.
Yep. So, in this one, the Pirates traded away a couple of highly thought of prospects, Austin Meadows in the outfield and Tyler Glasnow, starting pitcher. But the Pirates do have one of the deepest, actually, prospect pools in baseball right now.
And Archer's still relatively young.
And Archer's 29 years old, I think he is. So, still a young guy. Literally, the way pitchers are, you get 10 more years out of him.
Especially the way they don't pitch as many innings now.
Yeah. Trading away a couple of big prospects. But, hey, I like the idea that finally the Pirates are trying to actually win. So, thumbs up. Other deals of note, Manny Machado going to the Dodgers.
Actually, a lot of people going to the Dodgers in trades. Manny Machado going to the Dodgers, Mike Moustakas going to the Dodgers. I was thinking someone else went to the Dodgers there.
Dozier.
Brian Dozier went to the Dodgers.
He's a good kid. He tries hard.
He hits a lot of home runs at times.
So yeah, Dodgers, they are definitely loading up.
On the infield.
They pretty much replaced their infield.
Well, Seager's hurt, Turner's hurt off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to be interesting there.
Well, that's a big all-star there. I mean, Moustakas and Dozier, both great players, but seriously, getting Manny Machado, like that is like the big name out there.
Mm-hmm.
Next to Bryce Harper.
And his, 215, 220 batting average?
Yeah. Machado's batting only about 100 points higher than that. Speaking of Bryce Harper, why didn't he get dealt?
I think Washington just started looking too late to actually get a good deal going. Because even if he's gone after this, you want to get something for him.
Right. And that's what it sounds like. They
too late pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I thought maybe they weren't even bothering, but it does sound like they were actually shopping him around.
But it sounded like he came up. Today's a little bit late.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of trades were made today, but I would be willing to guess those trades started really happening last week.
Right.
And imagine a lot of these guys even got traded today. Discussions were coming up last week, I would think.
That's right.
Yeah, we're just going to bring it up today. Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's for me. That's like an epic fail by Washington. Like is a team like lying to themselves? Oh, we can still make the playoffs. Like no, you can't. It's been pretty obvious for like your team has been stalled the entire season. Like you guys are basically 500. Like you're not going anywhere. Like why do you think that all of a sudden the switch is going to come on?
No.
So yeah, and given that Harper is going to be an unrestricted free agent, it was like
get something for him.
Do they think they're going to re-sign him? Like,
and you're only going to get so much for him because even with the power and the speed and all that low batting average. And the fact that everyone knows he's a rental.
Yeah. Very strange.
Could have just got something for him.
One more deal that we're looking at that got our attention was Hand.
Brad Hand.
Cleveland got Hand.
Yeah, well, their bullpen, which had been strength for years, it was letting them down this year, but they got Brad Hand now to straighten that out.
That is an impressive deal. Like, I knew Brad Hand got traded from the Padres, but I could not remember who it was, and we checked out. Cleveland. Like, I think that is one of the most impactful trades that we have so far. Because, like, yeah, you're talking that Cleveland has been struggling with the bullpen. Well, struggle no more.
No.
Like, Cleveland just got these hands.
One other trade I'd like to mention is Wilson Ramos going to the Phillies will help.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Good to have a good hitting bat catcher.
They're rare.
Dealt with just like, maybe 5 of them in the whole league?
Mm-hmm.
That you can comfortably rely on. Besides our boy there in Pittsburgh, obviously, Cervelli.
Oh, Francisco Cervelli. A fantasy league dream for years. Basically just held down a roster spot because he's dirt cheap. And then this year actually went and got a hitting catcher, just decided to go get suspended for PEDs, which is probably why he was able to hit.
Attaboy. Is that Contreras?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
was it Contreras or
no.
Wellington Castillo?
Wellington Castillo. That's
he's been suspended so long I even forgot who he was already.
He's been buried so deep the Sporting News can't even find him anymore.
No. Anybody read the Sporting News anymore?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I used to love the Sporting News.
Oh,
I haven't read it in years. I really
it's
should.
Phenomenal writing, actually.
It's an old habit I should return to.
Oh, there's a big difference between some of these like hacks who write for websites and whatnot, and then you compare with an actual professional writer that writes for somebody like Sports Illustrated or Sporting News. Like, There's no comparison. It's like comparing Ken Giles to Brad Hand.
Sports Illustrated still read sometimes. It's been a long time since I read the Sporting News.
Yeah, no.
Ken Giles to Brad Hand. Roberto Osuna to Brad Hand. Because Hand should be coming right across Osuna's face like this.
Oh, multiple hands.
He should be getting these hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Over and over again.
Justice shall prevail, I believe. So let's look at, with all these moves now, let's look at the Major League Baseball spectrum here. So let's look at the teams that we think are contenders and pretenders. So contenders, these are the teams we think can legitimately challenge for the World Series. And pretenders, teams, dark horses. Just on the outside, they have a chance, but it's going to take some finagling. You're going to have to put some muscle in to get
twisting, some turning,
to get that
some leg work.
To get that square peg to fit in that round hole. Like, you have to put some,
oomph in it,
some body elbow grease.
You got to get your pad level down and move something back.
Exactly. So let's look at these contenders. One of them we have Boston Red Sox.
Oh, definite contender. Definite contender.
They seem to have everything: starting pitching, hitting, closing. Starting pitching, would that be their only weakness?
I think it's good enough to get them through.
Because we got Porcello, we got Sale. Price has been okay. He's been okay. But
Nathan Eovaldi had a strong first start for them.
Nice, indeed.
He's a number 4 guy, so.
But yeah, strong contender here, though.
In that order. J.D. Martinez made him the best batting order in baseball.
That was an amazing acquisition. It was like, everybody thought that was going to be pretty good.
He made everyone better.
Whew. And that has been phenomenal acquisition. Best record in the American League. Actually, best record in baseball, period. Boston Red Sox. So, yeah. So, definite contender. Another contender. Evil Empire.
Yeah. With that bullpen and that power. My one negative on them is, starting pitching I think is better than people think. My one negative on them is, if there's one thing I got against them in the playoffs, I think they strike out way too much for their own good, which can haunt you in big games even with all that power. But that one-loss record, they're still an undeniable contender. Yeah.
Well, obviously the Yankees are banking just like last year, really, because they kind of started this crazy, bullpen by closer committee here.
Oh man, this bullpen from hell.
They started
closing out games during the national anthem.
Yeah, they started last year, and this year they're continuing with 5 players who are either legitimate or closers or legitimate setup men that could be closers.
3 legitimate closers and 2 legitimate setup men that could be closers.
Yeah, so given that kind of bullpen, oddly enough, Yankees just need probably a couple of runs.
And it's a decent enough starting staff. It's not great, but Severino, Happ, Sabathia, Tanaka. The one thing is, though, with a power lineup like that doesn't manufacture runs, in a really well-pitched tight game, if you can't move runners over and you're all about home runs and strikeouts, you might not be able to get those couple runs if the opposing pitcher's hot enough. Their opposing pitching's hot enough. But mind you, the Yankees aren't that only team. A lot of baseball right now is about strikeout or home run.
Yep. Moving on to the next contender, we got Cleveland. So the Indians, good pitching staff. Good hitting.
Picked up Hand to fortify the bullpen.
And now with Hand in the bullpen, they have a legitimate
They'll give them a legitimate
closer.
Hand there.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, very good. So we're feeling pretty good about Cleveland's chances. The only concern, I guess, being in such a weak division, like the worst division in baseball, where no one else has even a 500 record. Like Minnesota is second place, 7 games under. Will this be a detriment to Cleveland?
I don't think so.
Facing such weak opposition all year. No?
No, because I think you get a chance to set up your starting rotation as you get close to the playoffs and maybe rest your bullpen a bit. Because you're going to need all hands on deck, no pun intended, when you get to the Yankees or Boston or whoever.
All right.
And even whoever comes out of the American League West, you're talking about the Astros or maybe whatever wildcard team is there, like Seattle or Oakland.
Mm-hmm. All right, so a less stressful division means a more well-rested Cleveland for a long playoff run.
Yes.
I like it. The fourth contender, again from the American League, the defending champs, Houston Astros.
Yeah, not a big fan of that bullpen or the Asuna move, but they are the defending champs, and they are loaded with talent and starting pitching, so they're still a contender for now. Though that bullpen to me is a huge question.
Yeah, bullpen moved bad, and also some injuries they got because basically their shortstop here, help me out,
Carlos Correa?
Correa, still injured, and he's going to be injured, it sounds like, probably until the end of the month.
That gives them all September to round into shape for the playoffs. So
Yeah. So I guess that's the only thing. So I guess if they get their injuries back, everybody playing well, it could, I suppose, be a blessing in disguise. They'll be rested.
Though Verlander not as strong as he was last year, Keuchel seems to be coming back to form. We don't know.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole's been outstanding,
Yeah.
but
To
does
my
he continue
chagrin.
that in the playoffs? And the bullpen's a question there. But like I said, defending champs in a severely talented lineup, so you still have to label them a contender.
Yeah, they're an insanely talented lineup, just up and down, batting wise, pitching wise. Yeah. So our last contender is the only one from the National League, the Dodgers.
Yeah, there's a borderline one after them, but they're going to go in pretender. Dodgers, to me, are the only legitimate contender there. Even with Arizona and Colorado just behind them in their division, you just look at how stacked this team is. They're starting pitching strong. Jansen, the bullpen. To me, a legit contender.
Yeah, and especially with the moves they made, like 3 impactful players showing up. Yeah, I could see the Dodgers kind of running away with this division now.
Yes.
All right, so those are a list of contenders. Let's go to the pretenders. The teams kind of like looking in. Potential to make some noise. So the one that you
On
say
the borderline, the
is
Cubs.
really on the borderline.
Champs from 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Starting pitching's pretty good. Bullpen's been shaky. Rizzo seems to be coming around. But when you look at how stacked those other teams we're talking about are, I don't think you can rule out the Cubs, but I don't put them in that class of those other teams. So to me, they're kind of on the line. I would lean more towards pretender right now.
So really for them to become a full-fledged contender, their bullpen needs to shore up. They need to get their act together. And they're
Especially the closer role there.
Morrow.
Morrow, yeah.
Currently injured. And also the starting pitching, because that hasn't been as dominant as it should be.
No, he has gone. Lester's been strong, but of course, when you get to the playoffs, if you face a team that runs, well, Lester deals with base runners.
Yeah,
being a Cubs fan, that's stressful.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If I had a blood pressure machine in my place, I'm sure I would just send it through the roof when there's a runner at first.
So really, the concern for the Cubs is pitching. If that straightens out, suddenly they move to contender status. Look at some of the other pretenders from actually the AL West. We got Seattle and Oakland.
Yeah, I think teams that could possibly fighting for that last wild card spot, but they're just not the quality of the other teams.
So with both Seattle and Oakland, like with them, I think like kind of pitching is kind of the issue for both.
I would agree.
Yeah. But both have practically equal records. Like Seattle, 63 wins, Oakland 62. So they're literally like, they're almost definitely going to be getting the wild card spots.
Well, one of them, because the Yankees or Boston gets one of the AL East.
The Yankees will probably get the other one, but now we've got like 6 teams. 6 or so. How many teams making the playoffs now? It's like the 3 division winners. I think it's 6. 3 division winners.
No, it's 5.
5?
The way it works is the 2 wildcard teams play in a 1-game thing.
Yeah.
And then that's 1, and the 3 division winners 4.
Okay.
They have that extra game.
So then we got 3.
Basically, Seattle and Oakland are probably fighting for that last spot.
They probably are then, yeah. Yeah, in that case. Oof, tough. So those are the only 2 pretenders we see coming out of the American League because, quite frankly, they're loaded with contenders. So we go to the National League for the rest of our pretenders.
Some decent teams, but not championship contenders to me.
Yeah, so oddly enough, the division leader in the National League East, we think is a pretender, Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Philly. It used to be Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they both fall in the same boat. Whoever wins that division is.
We'll get a first round crushing.
Well, I don't know about first round, but even if they could like find a way to get to the World Series and get hot, they're not beating those American League teams.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a crushing if they even get there.
And realistically, for both of them, they're both still in like what year 2 of their rebuilding plan.
Mode, yeah. In a couple of years, one of those teams, if not both, might be doing the crushing. But right now, no.
And Atlanta's the bigger surprise because I didn't think they were. Philly, I thought they could actually be a respectable team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Did not see that happening for Atlanta this quickly.
Neither did I.
I thought this would be another year of improvement.
I thought
but
maybe
still
getting towards
pain.
500.
Yeah.
Like still not there, but fighting their way there.
Yeah. Next, we look at Central with Milwaukee. Right now, they're in second place, just 2.5 behind the Cubbies.
Milwaukee's pretty talented, but I think pitching with them too, pretender status.
Mm-hmm. And then we have from the NL West, we have Arizona, Arizona and Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, even though they're right behind the Dodgers, it's just something. I think you and I talked about it at the beginning of the year. It's just something about Arizona. Just my gut says it. They're not for real.
It's very strange because, I mean, they have good pitching.
Mm-hmm.
They have good hitting.
Maybe they have the talent to be a contender, but there's just something I can't put my finger on it with them.
Yeah, because I mean they've spent some money, like offering Zach Greinke like $30 million a year, and in the outfield,
you still got Goldschmidt at first base there.
Goldschmidt there, but in the outfield, who am I thinking of here? He got injured all last year. Boy, this is terrible. Superstar player.
Oh man, it's at the tip of my tongue too.
Oh, this is horrible.
This is embarrassing, as you would say.
It is definitely embarrassing. AJ Pollock.
Yes.
So they have him back and healthy and playing extremely well. So I mean they have on paper what looks like to be everything, but there's always that certain something that you just can't put your finger on it that makes us kind of yeesh about this team.
Yeah, in Colorado they played well this year, but to me they're just not. They're not a championship contender. So they keep rolling along.
Yeah, I kind of see Colorado kind of in the same mode as like Philadelphia, where I think they're still in a rebuilding phase.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect them to be better next year.
Like they're pretty loaded with talent.
Yeah,
but I just, especially in the division with the Dodgers and all those moves the Dodgers have made.
Yeah. So those are a list of pretenders. Except we got one bonus pretender.
Ah, yes.
Oh, absolutely. You know it, baby.
The Pittsburgh Pirates?
The Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates are back, baby. The Jolly Roger is flying high across Major League ballparks. This team just recently rolled off a 10-game winning streak, beating teams such as Cleveland and Corey Kluber in their wake. So this is a team that's finally starting to believe and making the world believe. And felt good enough in their chances to make a playoff run to go get Chris Archer and give up a couple of prospects. And
this is a team usually trading for prospects.
Exactly. But Starling Marte, who came back after his performance-enhancing suspension last year, missed 80 games, come back strong. He's the leading base stealer in the National League, at least, I think. 25 steals.
Man, how the game has changed.
Yeah.
25 steals leads the National League at the beginning of August.
Yeah, it's pretty mad, eh?
Ah, man.
So he's back having a phenomenal season.
20 years ago, that wouldn't have even led half the teams in the National League.
That's true. Corey Dickerson, who they signed in the offseason, somebody who bounced around in Tampa and Colorado,
Nice comeback here.
Having another good season, batting over 300. And then, yeah, some of their own guys like Josh Bell at first base having a good season, bombing the home runs. So, yeah, just in total, some of their pitching prospects starting to make some moves. So, obviously, adding Archer will hopefully help the cause. So, yeah, the Pirates feeling good about this. Feeling good about the Pirates. Finally, for the first time in years. So, yeah, bonus pretend at Pittsburgh Pirates. Watch out.
Watch out for pretension.
Watch out. And, yeah, with that is our Major League Baseball update. Next, as promised, we're swinging up to Canada because it's always time for football.
Swinging up to Canada. Head start. We're already there.
Boom. On the field reporting. We go where the action is. And right now, for this Canadian Football League, we got to be in Canada. So we are. So, Johnny Football. People may have heard of him.
Johnny Manziel makes his CFL debut as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, ironically, for Montreal, which is Canadian version of Sin City. So pretty funny that somebody with his intriguing past would be playing in such a city. But hey, it's probably a marriage made in heaven.
I hope it works out for him.
So he's going up against his former team.
Oh, the one he spent all those weeks with?
The one that he played 0 minutes for?
The one where the starting quarterback doesn't put up many points ahead of him and they trade him? That's
the one.
That team.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Where the starting quarterback, Jeremy Rizzoli, puts up a bunch of 300-yard games where they can't hit 20 points. That team?
That team with 0 offensive touchdowns to their record in, 40 plays.
Well, didn't they score one last week to finally snap the streak?
They did. They did. After almost 50 offensive plays, they finally got a offensive touchdown. Yay. So, yeah, this will be a rivalry game between Montreal and Hamilton with Johnny going up against his old team. And
go, Johnny, go.
Will that be like a team? Will that be a game of anger for Johnny facing his old club? Or
a game of redemption?
Or is this going to be like a real heartfelt game?
It's hard to say. And the thing is, Hamilton is loaded with talent, but they don't play like it.
Yeah.
And Montreal has nothing, but they might have the quarterback.
Well, the one thing that Montreal can give Johnny Football some help with is actually in the running game. So they do have a legitimate runner in Montreal in Sutton, Tyrell Sutton, who last season, even on this wretched Montreal team with no offensive line and no quarterback, still managed to get 843 yards in rushing.
That might buy Johnny Football enough time to do what he has to do.
And this year, Sutton is still there, still running hard. So, yeah, somebody that can, he has a legitimate running threat. So, if Johnny's scrambling and passing ability can open up the game for Sutton.
And Sutton might open up the game for Johnny, because if he's running inside and you got respect on the play action, that gets Johnny Football outside the pocket.
That's right. So he's got Sutton there to help him out. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Outside of that, they don't really have much. They traded for.
They have nothing.
They got nothing. They did trade for another receiver, Andarius Bowman from the Blue Bombers.
Well, he can't play any worse than he did in Winnipeg. He was massively disappointing here, but maybe the change of scenery will do him well.
The issue is that he hasn't showed up in Montreal yet.
Well, not at that rate.
So,
the way he's playing, he's in no position to be holding out.
I don't think so either. So potentially, he could help if he were to regain his Edmonton form, let's say. Not his Winnipeg form, because for some reason, blue and gold just is like kryptonite to Andarius Bowman. 2 times he's been with the Bombers, and 2 times have been epic fails. So unfortunately, Johnny, receiver, yeah, not really.
No.
So yeah, you and Sutton are just gonna have to figure it out.
Good luck.
Run, Johnny, run.
Run, Johnny, run, run, run.
A couple of other games which piqued our interest in the Canadian Fall League is also Saskatchewan playing Edmonton this week. So Edmonton, the stronger of the two, having one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're in Mike Riley.
Yes.
Whereas Saskatchewan has been a two-headed evil monster of quarterbacking between Brandon Bridge and Watford. But now this week, Saskatchewan gets their starting quarterback back, Zach Collaros. So is this going to be a three-headed monster?
No, I think Collaros is their guy. The big thing is, can Collaros stay healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a huge question because he's had a couple years of injury issues now, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
So you have that to deal with. And what does he have at receiver? Because their best receiver is still playing cornerback.
There he is indeed.
Where he shouldn't be playing cornerback anymore.
Yeah, DeRozan Carter, for whatever reason, Chris Jones, the coach, insists on continuing this insane experiment of putting DeRozan Carter, who is an all-star receiver, at cornerback, covering some of the best receivers in the league.
Good to see Wile E. Coyote's back at it.
Yeah. So there's something to watch. See Zach Collaros back in Saskatchewan, how that'll impact that team. And the third quarterback change is happening in Toronto, where we got Mr. Franklin just not doing the job there. Jimbo Franklin. He's had what, 7 games to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And this week Toronto was going with McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Who?
Yeah, 30-year-old rookie.
Who?
Yeah, son of Mr. and Mrs. Bethel Thompson.
Who?
Yeah.
What college is he even from? Does he even know?
I think he's from parts unknown.
Well, that's always promising. Maybe you should wear a luchador mask too.
Yeah. He's coming in a mask.
Bringing up a point here about Toronto head coach Mark Trestman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, years ago, Mark Trestman, and this is years ago, I think decades ago, was a promising offensive...
Centuries ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like at the dawn of the age of football.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mark Trestman was regarded by many, not this guy, but regarded by many as an up-and-coming NFL offensive mind.
Genius.
Pretty much. I wasn't buying it.
Mm.
Yeah, one great year running San Fran's offense. Steve Young was the quarterback. Whatever.
Not bad.
Yeah. It's like, I hope he could do a Steve Young, Jerry Rice.
What?
Sure.
2 Hall of Fame players?
Yeah, I hope he could score some points. Go reinvent the wheel, buddy. Anyways. So, he went a few places in the NFL. When he first came to Montreal to be a head coach years ago, I kind of mocked it. An NFL coach coming up here who I thought was overrated down there. Turned out to have a great career head coaching in Montreal. With future Hall of Fame at the time, quarterback Anthony Calvillo. Goes to Chicago. The Trestman Jay Cutler experience.
That didn't go so well.
No, it didn't. Comes back to Canada last year with Ricky Ray, another future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Oh, but don't forget, after Chicago, he got to lovingly handcraft the offense for Baltimore.
Oh, I forgot about that because I spoke out against that so much. I don't know how I can forget about it because I remember that year I raged nonstop. What was Baltimore doing hiring this con? Because I believe he went there, was it a year or two after Kubiak had been there? And I what's this clown doing here? And the one common thread about him in Chicago and Baltimore is he abandoned the running game. Because everyone knows Joe Flacco, and I like Joe Flacco. If he's put in a position to succeed, he's not bad. But he's not the guy you want airing out the ball 40 times a game.
He's not Steve Young?
No, you want him to run the ball, run off a little play action, do a little this and that, but not in Mark Trestman's effed up world. No, we can't do that. Yeah, lovingly crafting crap. Anyways, goes to Toronto last year with a Hall of Fame quarterback, Ricky Ray.
Yep.
I'm thinking, great CFL coach, great CFL quarterback. They go on, they win the Grey Cup. Franklin goes to Toronto this year after playing pretty well in Edmonton last year when Riley was hurt. And then, it was kind of interesting. Ricky Ray goes down this year, and Franklin all of a sudden looks like an incompetent quarterback. Now, we'll see with, what's this, Michael Bethel Thompson or something this week? Sounds like the name of a gospel singer more than a quarterback.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Testify. Whatever.
All right, now Toronto might need prayer, because that might be the only thing that saves their season.
Now, we'll see this week with the gospel singer back there. I'm beginning to question now, Mark Trestman, very good head coach, or is he just a product of when he has Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
Very interesting. I like it.
The question's out, and the jury's out, and I will be my own personal jury in this.
If he can turn McLeod Bethel Thompson into a Grey Cup champion fiend,
then he's a great CFL head coach.
Then he's just a great coach.
Just a strong performance. Doesn't even have to be a Grey Cup.
But for now, jury's out.
Oh, yes.
But if you are judge, jury,
executioner.
Mark Trestman, you've been warned.
Oh, yeah.
And with
all eyes are on Mark Trestman.
Watching you, Trestman.
I'm looking at you, Trestman.
Looking at you, Trestman.
Looking at you.
Feel me burning a hole right through your soul.
Your suspecting-looking genius glasses. See you, Trestman. I see you.
So, with that dire warning, that takes us to our last segment, which is always the epic and suck of the week. The one moment we thought was epic, and the one moment we thought sucked. So, Buddy, take it away.
I have a theme this week, and actually, ironically, the suck usually doesn't tie into sports, but I'll tie it in here. First, the epic like. This past week, Stephanie McMahon, WWE, announcing there will be an all-women's pay-per-view called WWE Evolution. I think this is fantastic. The women have come a long way, and they have been equal and sometimes quite often stole the show on the men on the regular pay-per-views. I think this is fantastic. I hope this succeeds grandly, and they deserve it. This isn't just some novice thing. They deserve it, and I think this is going to be a phenomenal show. Now, my epic suck is something that actually didn't happen anywhere in sports. It happened locally, and I saw it in a lineup making a purchase. But
so you're buying a sports shirt.
I was buying a t-shirt.
Yeah, you're buying
but there was a guy with an athletic build ahead of me. So we're talking about the evolution of women. Now we're going to talk about
the de-evolution.
An idiot taking it back to the cave. So in front of me in line, I'm waiting to pay for my t-shirts, and there's this other guy, and he's purchasing his shirt or shirts or whatever, and he's pretty ripped. He's got tats or whatever. Anyways, he starts asking the cashier there. She's pretty attractive. So he's like, oh yeah, what's your name? Well, my name's this. Doing the intro things like, yeah, okay, go, buddy. Yeah, all the power to you. But then we're gonna take it back to the cave.
Because he had to impress her.
Oh, he had to impress her. Instead of using wit and charm, and
he did the small talk. He did the wit.
Hey, the small talk and the wit is good. And hey, I gotta admit, I envy because my body isn't the greatest, but still, I think this is he totally shit the bed here.
And now came the charm offensive.
Oh, here came the charm offensive, where we're taking it back to the cave. So as he purchases his shirt, he decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to change my shirt right here. The same look on the cashier's face didn't look impressive. What? He didn't look like he was winning her over to start with, but then he rips off the one shirt, and Then
shows off his huge pectorals.
Well, it was more
then,
that small ripped wiry thing. But oh yeah, he might as well have been flexing or whatever. But yeah, it took him a moment to get the next shirt on
because it was that tight.
It was that developed. So and he tried to use a bit of wit and charm, but in the end, yeah, I'm going to change my shirt right here. Epic suck to Mini Hulk taking it back to the cave.
Well done, Hulkster.
I loved seeing it. It was awesome.
Alrighty, well, for my epic of the week, I have a working pen. Yes, people, I have a pen that I always use to take my notes for the show every week. And for the last 2 months, I have been using this miserable free pen that I got that barely works. It hints at having ink. And every time I scribble with it, it's that you get that grinding sound from the pen. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like I keep thinking to myself, I have to get rid of this pen. But yet this part of me who doesn't like to waste things, like, no, but there's actually ink in it. You gotta fight through this. It's like a quarterback having a bad first half. You gotta fight through this. The second half you can improve. And so I kept thinking this pen, but it didn't. So I finally got rid of it today, and I got one that actually writes well. And this thing is so smooth. It's like Eddie George's head.
Wow, that is...
It is so smooth. Like, this pen doesn't even have eyebrows, just like Eddie George himself.
Wow.
No facial hair whatsoever. It's like you could take a baby's bottom and caress it over Eddie George's head, and no harm will come to the child. That is how smooth this experience is right now. So
that is amazing.
It's the smoothest pen I've ever used. So that is my epic of the week, along with Jack Morris being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I agree with that too. Hey, Jack Morris.
Jack Morris, four-time World Series champion.
And in my view, the second greatest playoff performance ever by a pitcher. Game 7, 91 World Series, 10-inning complete game shutout for the win.
And interestingly enough, you should mention that because he was the World Series MVP for the 1991 series. So Jack Morris, well done. Congrats. Deserving Hall of Fame. For my suck of the week, we take it back to the wrestling ring and also to the ladies. And I am angry with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Because just a few weeks ago, I was so happy and praising this epic beatdown that Bayley laid on Sasha.
We shared epic joy about that here.
It was
epic joy.
Absolute joy. It was shocking to see somebody with the ultra good guy status that Bayley has, and having all the fans and the children, all the little girls who love her and adore her, and seeing her do this kind of super villain beatdown on Sasha. That was absolute joy to see that. Just to see this turn of evil, and I thought we're going to get more of this, that there was going to be, the friendship was over and there was going to be nothing but heinous attacks, and this would just get more and more nasty and cruel, and it might even gotten personal. Instead, we got nothing. Instead, they've made up, and Sasha's like, oh, I love you, Bayley, you're my best friend, I love you, blah, blah. Hate this. Can't stand it. And
who turns on who? Because someone's going to turn.
Well, last night's Raw, they teamed up. And, of course, being the villainous fan I am, I kept waiting and hoping for the backstab. Never happened. However, I did get a little tiny glimmer that maybe it's just my wanting it so bad that I'm now just inventing stuff.
Well, I think it might come up, like you said, off. We've talked about this not on the show, but I think you've hinted at SummerSlam, someone turning. And I can see that.
Well, and the one thing I found intriguing about yesterday is that Sasha Banks... her wrestling outfit is usually, a purple theme. Because she's got the purple hair, and she usually has purple trunks and whatnot. So I've seen her do, purple and green, but it's usually pretty lively colors. But yesterday she came out in black trunks. And her hair, which has always been this just blazing purple, dark, shade of purple, yesterday had some black highlights in it as well. So we've got the purple trunks, got kind of, the black trunks and kind of more of a black theme altogether in her outfit. Definitely black was the dominant color. And suddenly now we're getting some black highlighting in the hair to go with the purple. Made me think that maybe this is the slow turn of evil, and that Sasha will be the one to betray Bailey.
I always thought she'd be a better heel. I always thought she'd be a better heel.
So I am hoping that this happens. Hopefully it will be at SummerSlam. It'll be just a monumental, crushing, epic beatdown of like hospitalization proportions.
That would be beautiful.
But until that happens, Sasha Bailey, you are my suck of the week. And with that is our show for this week. Thank you again for listening to the Body and Mind podcast. Body, thanks again for another great show.
Thanks. I'm so excited. I'm going to change my pants right here.
wait. No, not. Oh, my God. We better get off the air fast. Thanks again for listening to the Body and Mind show. Please subscribe and like our channel. See you again next time.